Yo, what's going on, everybody? It is a little bit after 1 o'clock here in Crystal Lake, Illinois. That means it's time for another live stream. Today is Friday, September 23rd, 2022. Good to see you guys, everybody. Everyone listening in on the live stream. Sorry, there haven't been that many podcasts this week. My parents have been in town. They just left this morning, but they've been in town all week, so I've been spending a lot of time with them. So not that many live streams. But hopefully, in the time that I've been gone, hopefully temperatures have dropped from summer temps to fall temps for you as you guys are getting ready for your fall marathons. And everyone watching this on YouTube, but not live, welcome to you guys as well. Again, hopefully you guys had some good runs today. I have not gone for my run yet today. My parents left, and then I actually had to get the lawn mowed because I was way overdue on that. So I did that this morning instead of going for my run. But I am going to go after a live stream today. So we will end probably a little bit early, but you know, getting started on the weekend. Can't wait for it. All right, let's see who we got here. Frank's here. He says, anybody interested in sharing a room in Boston? Boston is a freaking expensive town. Yeah, I suppose that a lot of people had some good news over the weekend. Although I didn't get I haven't been checking my email since my parents have been in town, but I didn't get a confirmation yet. But anyone who has run a Boston qualifying time and submitted it got into Boston this year. So, it's an amazing story because that's now the second time in a row that that's happened. And, what used to be like, oh man, it's such an elitist race. You don't even automatically get in if you run a qualifying time. All this stuff has certainly got into, oh no, does this spell trouble for our Boston Marathon now that there isn't any more buffer required? Well, not that it's always that way, but it has been the last few times. So it's an interesting turnaround on a similar set of facts. Jody Beck says, good day, everyone. And good to see you, Jody. And Pete G says, hi, Co. Got my Apple Watch Series 8, and the battery is much better, and the larger screen is good. Yeah, I'm using the Apple Watch SE, and the battery is better than my Apple Watch Series 4, which makes sense because that's a 4-year-old watch now. And the screen is bigger, which I definitely appreciate and noticed that right away. So, I'm still living with this, still keeping my iPhone usage basically to less. So far, I think I'm averaging less than 2 minutes a day using it. There's certain things that I just kind of have to do on the iPhone, like uploading an Instagram reel or YouTube short can only be done on an iPhone. It can't be done on an iPad. I'm not sure about YouTube shorts. I don't really care about YouTube shorts, but I tried doing it on an Instagram reel. You can't. It won't let you because it knows you're doing it from an iPad and not a phone, even though you download the iPhone app for Instagram on the iPad. Anyway, it knows it won't let you. TikTok, you can upload from iPad. So I've been doing that. So still using it. And yesterday was the first day that I really ran into battery problems because I just didn't have it fully charged when I started the day, and then I kept needing to charge it and I never did. And basically I was at 2% at the end of the night, and then I put it on the charger for a couple minutes so I could wear it while I was sleeping. So I'm certainly using it. I don't love it. And I don't really miss my phone that much either. Although I feel like I've part of it's because my parents were in town, but I'm definitely behind on some things that I needed to get done this week. And I feel very disconnected from people. But again, my parents were in town too, so that's part of it as well. Because you're still at home, but I'm kind of on vacation, kind of not. So there's that. I'm looking forward to being done with this experiment, though. So far, maybe that'll change, but I don't love living with an Apple Watch. Lucas H says, hello, my ring friends. See you in Boston. Any good resources for travel logistics? Yeah, I have no idea. I suppose I should book a hotel room and stuff. Get that all figured out. Greg S says, great to see everyone here and glad my work schedule finally allows me to join again. Well, that's great to hear, Greg. David Sachs says, what's going on, everyone? I'm getting excited about the Chicago Marathon. Just did my last 20-mile long run, and I felt great. Well, that's awesome to hear. We got a lot of fall marathons coming up. We've got Berlin this weekend, which I don't know what the weather's going to be like. But hopefully it'll be world record chasing weather. They are certainly hyping up um, Eliud Kipchoge's arrival to Berlin as a world record attempt. I mean, I just don't know what to think. But there's that. Um, and then the next week we got London, and then the next week after that we've got Chicago. Right? That's the schedule. It's going to be pretty wild. Yeah, I did a 20-miler last weekend too, David, and feeling pretty good about it. But I also last week was like my first week of marathon training because I was 5K training the week before that. So like I feel like I don't know what I'm gonna do this weekend. I might do an 18-miler. I might do another 20-miler. We'll see when I feel underprepared. So I'm gonna be staying at my buddy's house for the marathon, but we got to figure out what exactly our paces are gonna be. We'll have to see. Lucas says, after the LA Marathon, I said I was done marathoning unless my time got me into Boston. So he's doing one more and then maybe sticking to 13.1s. Nice. Midlife Runner says, yo, what's going on? 2 weeks out. Texas A&M weather is supposed to dip into the 60s next week. LFG, Chicago going to feel like a blizzard. See, I still feel like Chicago's going to be warm this year. I have nothing to base that on. I don't know. I guess I'm a pessimist. Frank trying to throw out some Kipchoge predictions. He's saying 201.33. That would be, what's the record now? 201.49. Isn't that it? I don't know. You think he'll beat his record? You don't think he'll get into the twos? I mean, is anyone thinking sub 2? Like to do a sub 2 in a real life race? Are there pacers in in Berlin? I don't remember. I think that there are, right? Interesting. Louis says, yo, what's going on? Good to see you. Stephen C. says, yo. Davin Patterson says, here in Washington, it's pretty much fall temps all year. You must be talking about Washington State. And I think you are, because look at this picture. It looks like the moon of Endor in here. Because I know Washington, D.C. is not fall temps all year. Ilya Kim says, running my first half of this year. Sadly, there will be no PB, but at least my injuries aren't as severe as they were throughout this year. First half of this year. Okay, I thought if it's your first half, as long as you finish, but if it's your first half of the year. Okay, all right. Frank says, does the no buffer thing indicate that less people were running because of COVID? I don't want to go off of anything that was in the comments in a Twitter feed. But, I'm guessing I'll mention it here because I think you guys will probably know. Do you still have to be vaccinated to run Boston? Someone was saying like you have to be vaccinated, and so anti-vaxxers aren't applying, and that's a substantial portion apparently. Number one, I don't think that's a substantial portion of runners. And number two, I don't think that would make the difference between we did and we didn't need a buffer this year. I don't know. David Romero says, have you used an Apple Watch for Chicago? Native Chicagoan, first-time marathon runner, but worry about the tracking since there always seems to be trouble with the signal, or should I upgrade to Garmin? I think the answer is no to your question. I haven't. I will this time. But I would say that it doesn't really matter what GPS watch you're going to be using because at parts you're going under grade. You're going under the ground because of what do we run under? We don't under. We start on Columbus and then we'll run under like Upper Wacker for portions of it, like in the beginning, and then there's other portions where there's a part where you like run under Michigan, and then you're just running also in urban canyons. And so I think pretty much all GPS watches are going to have a hard time. I mean, maybe I should also I think I'll probably also run with the Garmin Music 255 just to have that as well to see if the dual band does make a big difference. That's a good idea. So I'll do that. But like, if you really want to make sure that your splits are right on, I would say that get a foot pod, something that's GPS independent. And the other thing that I would just recommend that you do is just like manually split or lap time whenever you hit a mile marker so that you know like what your mile splits are. Because like all the watches are going to have a hard time. Wilfredo says, "Que pasa, Confucians? Seems like all the brands have a legit daily trainer. If you could make one, how would it be constructed?" I mean, have no desire to ever make a shoe. We've talked about this before on the live stream. It would just, if I made a shoe, it would turn out like the Homer Simpson car. It would just be a disaster. I'm very happy to be a reviewer and not a producer. I like this side of the camera, I guess, or the equation. Very happy to critique, don't want to create, in this space anyway. I mean, my dream daily trainer is basically exists. It's the Nova Blast 3. Like, plenty of cushion, nice and bouncy, still airy. You know, like, that's why I love the shoe so much. People love to give me a hard time. And I mean, I guess I take that as a sign, you know, like everyone always wants to punch up, I guess, you know, I guess I'm up now. So everyone wants to be like, I don't know if it's shoe of the year. I'm getting a lot of that. I hear a lot of that from people. But I think it's a great shoe. I think it does what it does by far better than any other shoe does what it does, even if it's a different category of shoe. I just love it. I mean, there's not much I would change on it. I think they could probably put more underneath the forefoot, even more FF Blast Plus, because I just never can get enough. I mean, that's what I was thinking today. I mean, today's video was about the Rebel version 3, and I really like the shoe this year, and I'm still perplexed as to why I like it so much more this year, where last year I was like, I can't run very far in this shoe. I do think that not only did they change and this is part that didn't get into the video, I do think that there's a little bit more aggressive toe spring in it last year. So even though on paper it's a 6mm drop, I think that the amount of actual foam underneath the forefoot where my foot hits the ground is a lot less. I think that's what's happening in version 2 versus version 3, because the numbers don't tell you the full story, like the paper specs on that one. But even on the Rebel version 3, when I was running in it, I was like, this shoe could use another 5 to 10 millimeters of foam. Then I would love it. I mean, not that I don't love it now. It's really good. But I would be like, if it had 5 to 10 millimeters or more foam in the forefoot, then I'm like, oh, this could be a Nova Blast killer. But without it, Nova Blast 3 is still the best one. So, I mean, that's kind of what it already exists. Mr. Souter says, what running app are you using on the Apple Watch? Right now, I'm using the native workouts app. It's hard for me to really right now I hate it. I find it super frustrating. It's nice, much better than what I had before on the workouts app on the old Apple Watch. But like right now I'm super frustrated because I can't see any of the data without looking at my phone. Like all the data that I really care about, I can't look at other than mile splits basically on the watch itself. And you can't look at that data. Like the Apple Watch is, here's what's hard about this like game that I'm playing with it, is that the Apple Watch isn't meant to be a phone replacement. It's supposed to work with the iPhone, and I'm trying to use it without an iPhone. And so like I'm missing out on a lot of some potential features of it. So I think there's ultimately going to have to be 2 phases of the video when I review the Apple Watch. One is going to be like trying to go 30 days without a phone or as little phone as possible. And the other is that like I can't look at all the stuff that I need to look at to determine how much I don't like the workouts app without looking much deeper into the phone. Eric says he had a nice and slow hour of easy running in the Speed Go 5 this morning. Then just got the COVID-19 and flu shot, one for each arm. Hope everyone's well. I still don't know where my vaccine card is, but I think I'm just going to I'm going to call up this pharmacy and be like, what do I do if I lost it? Because I don't want to wait anymore. So I think I'm going to go whenever my long run is. If I do my long run tomorrow, I'll go tomorrow or see if I can go tomorrow. Maybe I'll just try to go tomorrow either way. I don't know. But good to hear from you, Eric. Sergeant Reyes here says, just checking in, enjoying the Skechers Ride 10. Sales last on Running Warehouse until the 23rd. All models. Oh, nice. Cool. Thomas Wens here says, hi, Co and Confucians. I have 3 friends running Berlin, and it's been cool weather. Oh, man. If it's going to be a cool weather day, that's going to be awesome. But I feel like, oh man, if it's a cool weather day, let's say it's a cool weather day, and Kipchoge breaks his own world record. Fantastic, right? What's going through your mind if you're Sarah Hall? Because Sarah Hall was supposed to run it. She withdrew already, which I feel like if she withdrew like 2 weeks ago. I'm like, if you're withdrawing 2 weeks ahead of time, 2 weeks, like that far out, like there, because a lot of times people will withdraw like once they get there for the weekend or something like that, But she's just like, I'm not going. So, or they'll withdraw like at the last minute, like maybe right before they need to be getting on a plane. But she's just like, I have to withdraw. But like she made a U.S. record attempt in Chicago last year. It was too hot. If this weekend's record-setting conditions and she's not able to run it, oh man, that's got to be so frustrating. Calvin said, "Did you see Hella's Leadville video? It was an awesome journey. I saw that he made one. I clicked on it just because his video is like 100 miles at Leadville, so I did click on it just to comment 99.99 because of his Strava post. His Strava post was like, I ran 100 miles, but Strava only gave him 99.99 miles for his Leadville run. So I've been trolling Hella about it. One of my best performing tweets ever, actually, by the way, is that. And so I did comment on that. I will go watch it later though. I just with my parents here, I haven't had time. Copper Dan says, I'm 3 weeks out from the Whistle Stop Marathon in Ashland, Wisconsin. Oh. Is that a trail race? I'm not familiar with that race. Frank says, is my running buddy in shape for his goals? So my running buddy always gets freak injuries. Last year, did I tell you guys the reason he didn't run it last year? The reason he didn't run it last year is because he joined what he did not realize was a very competitive, I think like Ecuadorian soccer league. Like one of his new neighbors was like, hey, do you want to join a soccer league? And he's like, okay, sure. So he joins the soccer league because he's like, I wanted to become friends with this guy. He's new into the area. He seemed like a nice guy. And so he invited me to be on a soccer team. So I decided I'd play soccer. I was like, dude, are you sure? Because like some of the soccer leagues in this area, super intense. Like, you haven't seen people playing soccer around here? Like sometimes there's fights. People get really riled up. And he's like, what? I didn't know that. I'm like, how do you not know that? And he apparently was in this really intense soccer league where people play hard. And he got hurt real bad. Not like someone maliciously hit him, but like he was, not in soccer shape and trying to play against all these guys that were like really getting after it. And I don't know if he hurt his knee or something like that, but that's why he couldn't run last year because of a soccer injury. I'm like, dude, you're 40. You got to be more careful now. And I was like, last weekend was like all the 20 milers in Chicago. It was like Heartbreak had theirs on Saturday. Kara had their Ready to Run event, which I did last year. I think I did it last year. It's a point-to-point supported 20-mile run with beer at the end and all sorts. It's like a mini race. Just you're not racing. You're doing your 20-mile long run with other people. I was like, do you want to do any of those? He goes, one, I can't, because he had to leave that night for Sunday night for a work trip. So I'm like, I can't do a 20-mile run in the morning and then go to a work trip. I didn't really understand that, but he's like, I got a work trip I got to get ready for. And he's like, also, I may have really hurt my ribs in a boating accident over Labor Day weekend. So I'm like, he's like, hopefully I'll still be able to run. And I'm like, okay. And then I've messaged him since, and he seems to be okay. So we'll have to do some conferring and figure out what kind of shape he's in, what he wants to run. I've been training for 740s, so as long as he doesn't want to go faster than that, I feel confident that I can help him. So we'll see. Brendan here says, 9 days after COVID, I can finally taste again. Awesome news. He says, think about running this weekend if Fiona doesn't destroy everything. Any tips for coming back after COVID? It didn't impact my breathing. I don't know, man. I don't know. I would say take it easy. don't rush, man. That's what I would say. Ease into it. I don't know if there's any concern of like, extraneous exercise too soon, making someone more susceptible or not to like a bounce back infection. I don't know. I don't know about any of those things, but I would just say either way, take it easy. Fadi Hamed said, first marathon coming up next month. What shoe would you recommend, Vaporfly or Metasky Plus? I prefer the Metasky Plus to the Vaporfly, but the Vaporfly is not a bad option by any means. For a marathon, I prefer the Alphafly to the Vaporfly though. So that's something to consider as well. But there are definitely people who prefer the Vaporfly to the Alphafly, but I like the Alphafly a lot. Although I haven't run in the Alphafly 2 yet. I can't get myself to buy the orange version for sure. And I really don't want the mint and yellow one either. So like, I don't know. I might just get the mint and Volt one. I mean, I saw Kipchoge wearing a pair. I didn't see him myself, but like I saw a picture of him wearing one. I was like, he makes that look good. But I think on me it would look ridiculous. And overall, I think it looks ridiculous. I'm waiting. I did look on StockX to see if I could get it like the proto color, the all white one. It's like $400. I'm like, I don't want to pay that much for an Alphafly 2. So, Mark Peterson says, yo, congrats to everyone going to Boston. First time for me. Hope to see you there. Awesome, Mark. Hopefully I will. I guess, I don't know if are you coming to New York this year? Maybe I'll see you there. Or if you're coming to Chicago. But hopefully I'll see you at least in Boston because it'll be my first time as well. Oh, Paul says, talking about Berlin. They were talking about pacers at the interviews today, throwing out a possible pace of 60-40 for the first half. Oh. By the way, I did a bike day. Easy bike day on Monday. I did about 13 miles in an hour. So like, yeah, that's how fast like world record pace is. Like bike speed. Isn't that wild? Luis says, I hope it breaks a record again, but I think the record is 21:39. Okay. But it's solidly in the 2 hours. Did I say 21? I said 2 hours, 1 and 39 is what it is. But I hope I think it's solidly in the 2 hours and 1 minute. Kevin Lamb wants to know what's the colored ring on the finger. It's a silicone ring that I use instead of my wedding ring. My wedding ring doesn't fit anymore. It just falls off. So I have that in a safe space so I don't lose it. And this is just a silicone ring in its place. Nothing special. I mean, it's a wedding ring kind of, but it's not like any sort of like recovery metrics. It's not a data device. Frank says, though, that there was no proof of vaccine required for Boston 23. Yeah, I don't remember seeing anything like that, but I'm just so used to like just clicking yes, I agree to all the COVID protocols that I'm sure I could have easily missed it. But interesting. All right, let me scroll down. I'm going to try to catch up to you guys in the chat. Rob Vince Bowen. Good to see you, Rob. I think it's been a while, has it? He says, would the New Balance More version 4 be overkill in a rotation where I also have the Nova Blast 3? I feel like I need to be really comfortable when going slow. I don't think it would be overkill at all. So like, I could easily see really enjoying both of those shoes in the same rotation. I have them in my same rotation. So like, I don't think that there's any problem with that at all. Especially, I mean, if you just like to be like very cushioned from the ground. And if you're in a situation where you're running on a lot of concrete and pavement, then for sure, yeah. Now I'm lucky where I have a lot more soft surfaces and even flat soft surfaces to run on. So like I can get away with a lot less stack height, but like I still love the More version 4. It's still a great shoe. Derek Sawinski says, have you ever run in the Hoka Carbon X3s? Thanks for reviewing the Carbon X's. Yes, I have. I just did a 14-mile run this week, and that gets me to 100 miles in my Carbon X3. So I think probably maybe the next video out, the next video out's probably going to be on the Carbon X3s after 100 miles. I gotta say, I had such high hopes for that shoe, the Carbon X3. And now, I don't know if it's just like because so many other, because I mean, there's just been so many good shoes that came out this year. Not that good shoes didn't come out last year when that shoe was released, but like, I mean, I guess the Carbon X3 is a 2022 release. I got it back in December, but I think that was early. Um, but like, since I've gotten it, I run in a lot of really good shoes, and I'm just starting to think that Hoka has a real gap in its rotation. I mean, saying that, knowing that the Rocket X2 has been available for pros to use, or at least they've been testing prototypes that all look like the same shoe, but maybe they're different every time. But like, there is a Rocket X2 hopefully somewhere on the horizon. I just haven't seen it personally or in person yet. But like, Steph Bruce has been racing in something that looks like a Carbon X2 for a long time. Alafine has been training in Carbon X2s. I've been seeing them in a lot of the NAZ Elite videos and photos that they've been putting out. I want the shoe. I want to test it because last year's Carbon Rocket X, I think it's just Rocket. I don't think it's Carbon Rocket X. I think it's just Rocket X, and the Carbon X3s. They're not doing it for me anymore. Yeah, I don't know. Duke BD says, picked up the New Balance More version 4 and wore them to work today. Super comfortable casually as well as on my runs. You know, people have been asking me, since I've reviewed both the More version 4 and the Supercom Trainer, I've been getting a lot of people asking me, like, part of the reason why I was late as I was answering a bunch of comments, because I haven't been answering a lot of comments because I don't have a phone. That was my main way of answering it. Like, anytime I had a minute, I would just open up YouTube Studio and, like, rattle off a couple of responses to comments. The others, my parents were here, so like I was trying not to do work too much while they were around. But like I was upstairs getting ready for a live stream, answering a bunch of comments, and I got so many about like both for the More version 4 and for the Super Comp Trainer, which one's better for standing around, which one's better for just starting to walk as an exercise regimen, not necessarily running. Which one's better for someone with ACL surgery rehab? Which one's better for like I got like all these like medical questions, and not just non-running questions. And I just think that those, I don't know if they're just popping up or if people are recommending them. My guess it's like maybe people like Hez Kicks. Hez is really recommending that shoe as like super comfy. And so that's why he's generating, because he's, like 10x the size of me. So like maybe he's generating a lot of interest, and that's sending people down a rabbit hole of Super Comp Trainer or More version 4 videos. But I've been getting a lot of questions like that. And I'm like, I just don't know that I would like the Super Comp Trainer casually, sure. But like if I had to be on my feet a lot and not running, I don't know that I would like. I think it would be kind of annoying. It'd be too squishy. I mean, there's no such thing as too squishy, but it might be, for some people, it might be too squishy. Like, people ask me that about the Prime X all the time too. Every time I make a Prime X video, like, can I wear this to work? I'm on my feet all day. And I'm like, no. I mean, you could. I'm sure people are, and I'm sure it actually might be decent, but there might be other options that'd be better because it's not made for that. I don't know. But I could see them being very comfortable casually. The More version 4 for people that wanted to like walk in them, stand in them. I just think with the fuel cell foam, it's just gonna be too like, twitchy. I don't know. David Romero wants to know, is it really that dead crowd-wise once you hit near Sox Stadium at 35th Street? Before then, it gets to be a little bit quiet. There's a little bit more noise there because there's a red line stop near there, so it's somewhat easy for spectators to come find you over in that area. But then after that, it does kind of die down a little bit because you're starting to get towards the end of the race and you're still running away from the city. And so people want to see you towards the end. They can't go down there with you and then make it back in time. So that's why there aren't usually that many people down there. David wants to know any suggestions and tips for new Chicago runners. Yeah, I would say really, really take it easy. I mean, the whole time. It's so easy to get very excited and get carried away. But especially, two main points. As you get near downtown, again, around the halfway point, it gets very exciting. Beautiful views. You're starting to see like giant crowds of people again. Not that there weren't before that point, but there's giant crowds now. So be careful right around the halfway point. And then you're going to, so Chicago is like a 3-leaf clover. So when you're coming back to downtown again after the halfway point, it's like around mile 16 or so. That's when it gets really exciting again because you're seeing crowds of people. And that's where I mess it up every year. So like, on that second clover leaf, just be really careful. So take it really easy. Run it a little bit slow if you can. That would be my main thing. That and the other earlier warning about the GPS, it's going to be crazy. So figure out how far you are behind like the clock time and then go by the clock time for the first handful of miles. Jody Beck says, will you be doing any shakeout runs or meetups apart from Sunday morning? As doing the 5K as well. I arrive on Thursday evening. Yeah, we'll definitely have a shakeout run the day before. And it won't be the same time as the 5K this year. Because I know that a lot of people like to do the 5K. So it should be like, if you really want to, you can do the 5K and then do the shakeout with me too. So that's kind of how they're going to be timed a little bit. But I'll have more details in just a bit. I know we're getting real close, but yeah. Awesome Thunder 16 says, 2 days out from the Chicago half, any tips for the course? Also, will you be there? I'm not going to go this year. This will be the first year in a while that I haven't gone. I do love that race. My tip would be, there are some, if it's going to be sunny, which I actually think it's going to be rainy. I think there's also a Bears game on Sunday, isn't there? Oh, get there early. But if it's sunny, be careful and try to run in the shade because it gets super hot on Lakeshore Drive because of the parts where you're running on the drive. There's parts where it gets super hot if it's sunny out and it'll just sap your energy. So like if it's a sunny day, try to run in as much. It might take you off the tangent a little bit, but run in the shade. Affluent Journey says, big hurricane to hit Florida next week. Should I run away to DC for museums and history or Moab for mountain biking and national parks? I don't know. Hopefully you're going to be okay. But if you got to evacuate, I suppose it depends on how long you would need to evacuate for. But DC is beautiful this time of year. I've never been to Moab or very many national parks that I can think of. Yeah. Going back to marathon shoe choice, Jody says, I am running in the Alphafly 1 over the Sky Plus for Chicago. I ran in the Sky last year. I do enjoy the Sky, and I like the Sky Plus even more. I haven't run in the Sky Plus in a long time. I'm kind of saving it. I don't know if I'll run in another marathon in it this year before the next year, so I'm kind of holding back on the miles on it. But I also have like a lot of great shoes right now that I think would be, that'd be fun to take on a 20-mile run, like the Rebel 3. So I'm trying to like spread it around. For the last while, as I was like really trying to, focus on breaking 3, all my long runs, all my workouts were in carbon plated shoes. Now I'm like, I don't need that. Do I? I'm not sure. And right now I'm just training, just trying to get myself into endurance shape. I'm not particularly working on speed. So I've been able to not run in carbon. I do love running in carbon though. And Davin Patterson says, I wish they'd released that Rocket X2 already. Someone told me earliest would be spring 2023. I mean, again, it goes down to like, what are the World Athletics rules even anymore? I guess I should read and find out about like running in shoes that are not publicly available, you know? So, because like I think, I mean, I don't know, like would they disqualify Steph Bruce, for example, in the New York Marathon, for running whatever time she's hoping to run in the New York Marathon? I don't know that she's in contention for a win, you know, but she might place high enough for prize money. You know, if that shoe's not publicly available, will the New York Marathon DQ her? Are they doing a shoe check for that marathon? I'm not sure. You know, but like, I feel like the same thing's happening. I don't know anything for sure, but the rumors that I've heard for New Balance is that like the big push of the SC Elite. I think there's going to be some ahead in New York, but like most people probably won't be able to get the SC Elite 3 until spring 2023. What'll be weird is what are they going to show us in TRE? TRE is still happening in December. So what are they going to be like? Here's the SC Elite 4. You're going to love it even more than the SC Elite 3 that you still haven't tried yet, you know? Like, yeah, I don't know. Same thing with like the Rocket X2. Now, last year at TRE, Hoka didn't show us anything. Well, that's where I got my pair of Carbon X3. So I got the Carbon X3 at TRE at a Hoka event. And then also got my spikes there. Not my spikes, but they gave me a pair of spikes there. But like they never showed me anything with Rocket X 1 or 2. So I don't know. 2023 that's a long way away, it feels like. I mean, it'll be here before we know it, but Eric says what everyone's been saying about Hoka for a long time. And I've kind of like defended against to varying extents over the last couple of years. Eric says Hoka really needs a new foam to compete in the super shoe category, at least for roads. I mean, I feel like the ProFly Plus, is it ProFly X? Yeah, ProFly X. I want to say, is it ProFly X Plus or ProFly Plus? I don't know. The new ProFly that's in the Mach 5 and to an extent in the Carbon X3, I think has a lot of potential. And I mean, it's not purely EVA. It's EVA for part of it, but also some level of supercritical foam in there. But I do feel like it's just the Carbon X3 foam, I don't think strikes me as a super like shoe racer. And I'm not even sure if I like it for marathon training at this point anymore. But like it depends on what they got in this Rocket X2, you know. That being said, like I feel like there's still a lot to do with EVA, especially if you're going to use EVA as your puck for the super critical process. There's still a lot of, you know, room for doing a lot of stuff that's interesting. And yeah, I don't know, but I think in the super shoe category for the roads, it's a hole in their lineup, I think. You know. Do they need a new foam? I'm not sure. But what's on the market today, isn't it? You know. So, I mean, it works for some people, for sure, no doubt about that. But I'm like, there's also other shoes that are really, really good. Calvin says Hoka and Nike have opposite problems in terms of their shoe line. You know, I would say who has the more glaring opposite problem is Adidas. Right? So I feel like Hoka and Adidas are the better inverses than Nike is. Cuz like I guess well, I mean like the Turbo Next Nature, the Turbo Nature is not it, right? At least the Invincible is arguably a pretty good shoe. And like the Infinity, did they make a new Infinity this year? I haven't been paying attention that much. There's some decent shoes. The Pegasus is better this year. I don't hate it. You know, it's pretty good. But like the racing shoes are great, right? But I feel like look at Adidas. Like Prime X, Adios Pro 2, Takumi Sen, Those are just such fun shoes to run in. So good. And then what are the trainers that go with it? Boston 11, mm, Audio 7. I don't know. I thought I saw somewhere that they said that they put more foam in the stack height in the Boston, the Audio 7. So I'm actually like, oh, I thought that was just getting an upper update. But then like Ultra Boost, Solar Blast, SL20s, not bad, you know? So I'm like, that it's just like so good race shoes and then like so forgettable daily trainers. And then like Hoka's the opposite. Their daily trainers are great. Clifton's great, Rincon's great, Mach 5 is fantastic. But then it's like Bondi is better than it's ever been. But it's like, although I do think that the Bondi needs to like kick it up a notch. But then like the Carbon X3, I really want to love this Carbon X3 because the knit upper is really good on it. I'm like, it's right over here. That's where I keep looking. I'm looking at the shoe. But yeah, there's just, they gotta nail it. And then I don't think it's wrong, but I don't think it's mutually exclusive because they keep putting out shoes like the Kawana, and what was the new one they put it out? The newer other one that's like the Kawana, but even less running oriented. Like, you can do both at the same time. It's a big company. I wish they would do both at the same time, but I don't know. Yeah. Matt Cornero says, "Oh man, Chicago was so much fun last year. Jealous of all the folks running it for the first time." Chicago's a great race. That is a great race. Just from another tip. Anyone that's running Chicago for the first time, you got to get in the corrals early, and you got to get in the bathroom lines early. The bathroom lines take longer than you think, and the corrals close earlier than you would expect. So keep all that in mind. There's always a friend. I remember what year it might have been, like 2017. 2017 was a particularly bad year for the bathroom lines and as it pertains to the corrals for Chicago. I don't know what happened, but it was I guess it was like a poopy year. People needed to use the toilets and the lines were really long. And it got to the point where the starting area is in a big park in the city. Every tree that you could find had like one or two dudes peeing on it. It was like as far as the eye could see. It was a very strange sight. And like women were having problems too because women can't just like pee on a tree as easily as men can. And like that following Runner's World, no joke, was like a 5-step article on how a woman can very easily pee like by a tree if there is a crowded or too long bathroom line situation at a race. I think that was 2017. Do you guys remember that? Do you guys remember that also, like the Runner's World article? I think the fact that there was like a very detailed, very like graphic, explicit, not explicit in like that kind of way, but like it was a very detailed how-to article in Runner's World. Do you guys remember that? Anyone? Am I just imagining it? Yeah, I don't know. Jody wants to know, are there bathrooms in the corral area? There are. There are many like stations of bathrooms too. There's a bunch by Gear Check. There's lots of different stations, but like their lines just always get real long. H.M. Runner says, I would appreciate a top 10 Kabuzi Chicago Marathon tips. I think we could do that. That's a good idea. If I had my phone, I would write that down. I don't have my phone. But yeah, hopefully I'll remember to do that. Keegan, I'm running Chicago as the first marathon. Awesome. And Go Home Raj says, I'm doing CIM for the first time ever this December. I'm so excited. Well, I will be there, so I'm very excited for it too. It's a good race. I really enjoy it. Bathrooms as far as I could see at CIM, or like about 3/4 of a mile. If you're doing your warm up, if you want to do like a 1 mile out and back, 2 mile warm up. No, maybe it's about a half mile because I'm thinking I did about a 1 mile warm up and I ran a little bit past the end of the bathrooms. But there's there's so many bathrooms at CIM. It's amazing. let's see. Brandon says, okay. And we'll end on this one for today. Because I still got to get my run in before the baby gets off the bus. Brandon says, okay, at what mileage do you recommend replacing the Novablast 2? I'm thinking about rewarding myself after my race this weekend. I've got about 250 miles on them now. I would say now's a pretty good time. I don't think that you have to. I think plenty of people have gotten them past 300 miles. Oh, by the way, today someone wrote a really nasty comment to me on my Novablast 3 video, which my Novablast 3 video was after 100 miles in the shoe. And he goes, this person comments like, this is a junk review. You shouldn't review a shoe before 500 miles so we could see how it holds up over the test of time. I was like, what? Anyway, 250 miles, I think it depends, your mileage will vary, but like for a lot of people, there's still going to be a little bit of life left in those. Not a ton, but, I'd be confident taking them past 300, but I would start looking for a new pair of shoes now. And I would say now would be a great time to see if you find a color of the Novablast 3 that you like. And so like if it takes you a little while to get that Novablast 3, you'll still be fine with your Novablast 2. But if you get one right away, you might have a couple of miles left in the Novablast 2, but you can also have a Novablast 3 as well. So soon is the answer I would look for. All right, that's going to be it for me today, everybody. Hopefully you guys all have really great weekends. I'm going to be watching the Berlin Marathon. Will I watch it live? Probably not. But now that I don't wake up and look at Twitter on my phone first thing in the morning, maybe I'll have a chance of watching a replay without spoilers. What do you think the odds are of that? I don't know. But if you guys are in Berlin or have friends running Berlin, I hope for world record chasing temperatures this weekend and everyone getting ready for Berlin, London, or Chicago. Hopefully you guys aren't going too crazy in the taper right now and that you have really great races. All right. I'm going to be getting ready for Chicago. I'm going to probably do one more long run. We'll see how long it is. And if you guys are doing that too, good luck to you guys as well. Until I see you guys again, be safe out there, everybody. Thanks.